Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here today. My name is Brittany, and I'm a family support specialist with Raising Special Kids. And I'm excited to host today's Facebook Live here with families, here for families. And today we're going to be talking about online safety tips, and I'm going to be sharing some resources and suggestions. So thank you for those joining in. Again, this is Brittany Miller, and I'm going to be sharing some useful tips and resources to help our kids be safe online, especially as you all know, they're spending a lot more time on technology and on the internet than we probably like to admit as parents. But thankfully, there are a lot of good resources and guidance out there to help us teach our children to be responsible digital citizens while utilizing technology for school and recreation and all the wonderful ways that it can help us. However, being aware of the dangers and some of the precautions we need to take while our kids are using the internet. So thank you again for joining. I'm going to be watching the Facebook Live chat to see if anybody jumps on with questions. We may share a couple resources in the comments. And I really would appreciate if families have any tips or suggestions they do in their home for rules around social media usage or internet timelines or anything like that. We're all parents, we're learning along with you, and it would be nice to see what our community is doing as well with their kids online. So anyhow, just a quick Raising Special Kids update. As you know, it's back to school for most Arizona children, so our phones have been starting to ring off the hook, helping parents navigate distance learning, get their children's IEP services going, needing guidance and advice, and we're very happy that we've been able to support families. We know parents are stressed. This is difficult, and we've been having to do this for a while now, but just know that we're here for you. So if you need individual support for your child who receives special education services, or maybe they don't yet, and you have some concerns that they may have a learning disability, or maybe they need a 504 plan because of a medical issue, please call our office because we are here to support you. Our direct number is 602-242-4366, and we're happy to help you with your special education concerns. Raising Special Kids, we've also been very busy with our virtual trainings. So please check our website at raisingspecialkids.org. We have a lot of good, worthwhile trainings on positive behavior support, IEPs, legal options for when our children turn 18. I know I'm missing some. We have a sexuality class. We have a lot of worthwhile virtual opportunities for parents to do their own distance learning at home, and they're free for families. So please check out our website to sign up. We'd love to have you join us. Thank you again for those jumping on. Hi, Wendy. I appreciate you joining us today. We also had a wonderful opportunity. Our executive director, Mr. Chris Tiffany, he did a webinar on an inside look at raising special kids with Jennifer Kubachevsky of the Kyle and Kubachevsky law firm. And I'm going to be sharing that in our social media channels. So stay tuned. We're getting ready to upload that and share with our community. If you're wondering what exactly it is that we do, the different ways we support families, the array of services we offer, check it out. It's a great webinar. It's fun to hear from our fearless leader and how he came to raising special kids. And it'll give you a really good idea of the depth of support that we provide our community. So stay tuned for that. Also, if you head to our website, you will notice that we added a new speaker series. It's also on our Facebook events, but we are going to have a gentleman from Social Security coming to teach us all the ins and outs of SSI, and we're going to be offering it in English and Spanish. So I know parents call us all the time with questions regarding SSI, so you will not want to miss that. So check out our website, go to our Facebook events section, and stay tuned. We'll be promoting that as well. So thank you again. I see some people that are just jumping on. Hi, Maureen. If anyone has questions, please comment. If you have a good tip you utilize at home, or maybe an app you use for safety or monitoring for your kids' technology usage, please post it, because I'm going to be sharing some resources that I've gathered, but there are countless good things out there to help us as we're navigating the online world with our kids. So thank you. Let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. So we know that our children spend a lot of time on the internet. We felt it prudent to talk about internet safety, especially because we're heading into another season of distance learning. And honestly, let's be honest, we also are parents working at home, myself included, and the rest of the RSK team is as well. Many of us have other children. Many of us aren't working at home, but we are working. And honestly, our kids are spending more time online. I actually read a study. Here, I'm going to find the quote. It said something like children, this is a little, makes me cringe a little bit, but children spend around 9 hours a day on average connected online somehow. And this was pre-COVID. So can you imagine what that number is right now? Actually, I don't even want to know. I have teenage daughters and we utilize Apple products. And so I'll talk about it later, but there's a way for you to set screen time limits for your children's phones from family sharing. And it gives me the alerts on how much time they've spent online. And I'm embarrassed. I'm not even going to announce it. And I'm a little shameful about how much I've been on my technology since we've been in COVID, because it's our way with connecting each other. So we all know they're spending a lot of time on the internet, and much of it is for good. And much of it is wonderful. They can learn, they're getting their schooling, they can find that social connection. It's better than not, they're not seeing their friends in person maybe as much. So it's a way for them to connect, but we want to teach them to be responsible and safe. So I actually have a unique perspective. My husband works for federal law enforcement, and part of his job is it's sad. It's internet crimes against children. So I myself hear way more than I would like to know about things that can happen if our kids aren't safe, and if they don't use privacy settings, and if they allow people they don't know to friend them or message them. So it's real. I can attest personally. I don't want to, we don't want to scare people or anything like that. But it happens, and it's important for us to be aware of it and not to scare our kids, but just to be informed so that we're empowered to keep them safe. So I've collected some great tips. I did a lot of homework, I'll admit, you guys, because there's so much good out there. Some of the resources that I've checked out that I'm going to be sharing these tips from are honestly the National Organization for Missing and Exploited Children, the FBI. Common Sense Media is a really good one. We're going to share a resource on some of their videos I'll talk about later. Let's see here, Net Nanny, Norton Security. So there's a lot of good guidance out there. So thankfully, we're not alone in this. We have some good ideas and ways to keep our kids safe. So I'm going to pull out my list and I'm going to start going through it because there is such good advice on this. So this one is for the kids. So if you wanted to keep it simple and give your kids a list of a few rules online to get started, these are some good ones. And now let me just preface, we are not teaching you how to parent your children. Everyone has their own family dynamics and rules and standards. These are just suggestions that we at Raising Special Kids like, and we wanted to share with our community. So the big one, it's so important, is do not share personal information. It may seem self-explanatory to us adults, but our kids need to hear it. Do not give name, address, school name, favorite playground, anything that identifies where you might live, anything personal. Don't give it out online. We need to tell our kids, just don't do it. Keep each other safe. Just make that a rule of thumb. Downloading. Ask your parents before downloading any file from the internet. So that's a good one that we need to share with our children. Communicate. This is a big one I tell my kids. So I have a almost 15-year-old and a 13-year-old daughter that utilize the internet. And sometimes inappropriate things pop up, especially when they're using YouTube or things like that. Of course, they were innocently looking at it, but some of these companies that share pornography or inappropriate images, they infiltrate the programs that we use. And so I have told my girls, I'd rather have you not be ashamed about it. Just tell me about it so we can address it and put the right blocks on there. So teach your children, if you would like, tell them to communicate with you. Discuss anything that you feel uncomfortable with your parents. So allow our kids that safe space. And if something happens that seems makes them feel uncertain online, or if they see something, let them know that it's okay for them to talk to you about it and they're not going to get in trouble, because that's a big one. A lot of kids will feel ashamed about it. Melanie, thank you. You had jumped on. Is this video presentation being recorded? Thankfully, all of our Facebook Lives get recorded and they stay in our Facebook timeline. We also upload them to our Raising Special Kids YouTube page, and they live on our website. So yes, thank you. Please share with your friends. I appreciate that, Melanie, and we all do. And so if you want to utilize any of our Facebook videos, because we have a bunch of Facebook Lives in English and Spanish that we've done over the last few months that have a lot of good information, go to our website or look at our Facebook video timeline or check out YouTube. They all live there and they're all shareable. Thank you. Another important thing to talk and remind our kids about is pictures. This is a big one. You may talk to your kids about thinking carefully before uploading pictures. Avoid pictures that show address or specific locations. And of course, we want to protect our children by teaching them to share appropriate images. We don't want online predators, having access to them. Number 4, passwords. Do not give out your password. Just don't do it. Don't give it out to anyone online. And that information should be stored in a safe place and shared with their parents. Your children share with you. Cyberbullying. The internet is an extension of the real world. It's good advice, and I've told this to my girls, treat others as you would in real life when interacting with them online. And especially as our kids get into those teenage years, it's hard to think about, but cyberbullying does happen. And we want to teach our kids to not be the bully. And we also want to teach them to report it to us if they are being bullied so we can help address that. So those are some good introductory ways to get our kids on the same page about using the internet. And remember, we know that every family has different rules. Some families give their children phones at certain ages and some wait. Some kids aren't allowed to use the family computer until they're 12 or 13 or what have you. Right now, we can't really get away with computer usage with distance learning, but we're aware that you guys are all going to set boundaries and expectations for your family. We're just happy to share some of these suggestions. And I'm also watching the chat, guys. That's why I keep looking over. Thank you, Gloria and Claudia. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's some good resources. I'm going to keep going. So this is for the parents. So guys, there's a bunch here. They're so important, and I didn't want to leave any out. There's more out there, but these I thought were a really good list of concrete guidance that we can use when teaching internet safety to our families. Place your computer in an open room with the monitor facing out. This allows you to see and control what's occurring on the internet. This seems kind of like a no-brainer. If it's out in the open, we can kind of monitor somewhat about, what's going on and what they're watching. Educate your children about the internet, both the positives and the potential dangers. So it can be a really positive thing. Be involved. Tell them, the good things about it, but also sensitively and age appropriately talk about some of the dangers so they can be responsible and cautious. Help your kids set privacy controls on their social media accounts. That is huge for all of us, adults and children. Whatever social media platforms you're allowing them to use, make sure they're private. Super important. My husband always says, especially for like TikTok and Instagram, make sure your kids have private accounts. Bookmark child-friendly websites. This is good, especially for our younger children. This allows our children to easily get to safe sites that they've used before. So if they're using PBS Kids or Sesame Street or Starfall, what have you, if you have those bookmarked, they don't have to search for it. They don't have to type in the name of the website. It'll go straight to the ones that they're permitted to use and are good and clean for them. Teach your children that internet safety means never giving out personal information. We already talked about that, and so important. Number 6, share your safety experiences, both the good and the bad, with your kids. So be honest, all of us have popped up a website on the internet and something has come up that wasn't appropriate. It's okay to tell our kids, it's even happened to me, it's happened to mom, but it's all right. I blocked it. I know that I don't appreciate that content, and I moved on. So they know they have a safe place to talk to you about it, which I had mentioned before. Teach your children to refrain from chat rooms. This is a big one. We don't know who is behind this screen, whether it's a child or a username for a predator. And I don't mean to have any scare tactics or anything. That is a real thing that occurs. So it's good to avoid those and to teach our children to avoid chat room type platforms. This one is probably pretty crucial too. Don't install peer-to-peer applications. A high percentage of what occurs with children in peer-to-peer applications is related to to either illegal or immoral activities. Yeah, I don't think I need to elaborate too much on that one. It's word of caution on those type of apps and internet, platforms. Teach children to crash and tell. If they encounter a bad experience, they should feel comfortable in immediately turning off the computer and going and telling mom or dad and getting help. Install antivirus on your computers and mobile devices. That is always good and responsible. This is a good one that my kids aren't gamers, but I know a lot of our kids are. And gaming systems are connected to the internet. And I am not super savvy at all of the games and platforms and, Xbox, all of that out there, but I know that they're connected to the internet and many children play other people. So just make sure they're secure and you're aware of who they're talking to when they're interacting with those video games. Don't forget that your gaming console is also an internet device these days. Children can download games and also make in-game purchases, even surf the web. So that's another good one. Make sure they're not buying a bunch of stuff that you weren't aware about or downloading things. That has actually personally happened to me when my daughter was younger on Amazon. It was awesome. Number 12, never allow your children to meet with someone from an online session unless a parent approves. And that's a really big one. That probably seems pretty self-explanatory, but really telling our kids, we never meet with someone in person that we met online without our parent there and without permission and informing them about it. That's just can be very dangerous. Let's see, encourage break time. This is important right now. And I think all parents and all children that work on the computer, have school, interact with people, encourage breaks. We get something called screen exhaustion. I get it. When we're not meeting in person, we're having these Zoom meetings back and forth. The kids may be on their computers for 6 hours a day interacting and doing homework and Zoom meetings. It's not good for our eyes and it's not good mentally. So encourage those breaks. It's a real thing. Let's see, I think that was number 13. So 14, know the parents of your children's friends. This is a good one because likely our kids are going to be connecting online because they're not hanging out at school in person. So just being aware of who they hang out with. That way you guys can, look out for each other and look out for our community and the children in the community. If all the parents are connected and aware of each other, it just has more adult eyes on the situation for our kids. Let's see, teach our children not to respond to messages from strangers. If you get a message through Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, you name it. TikTok is a huge one right now. Don't respond. Teach your children not to respond. I think that was 16. So 17, teach our children to never open an email from someone they don't know. This is a great rule of thumb for adults as well. Spam is a real thing. It can wreak havoc on your computer, and it may connect them with someone that they should not connect with. Let's see, we're going to keep going. Consider kid-safe browsers. This is 18, and kid-safe browsers and search engines. That will help keep clean content mostly, and it'll filter out a lot of the bad things. I'm definitely not a computer expert, but I know that can be very helpful, especially when we're trying to prevent inappropriate websites and things like that being able to be looked up from their devices. Let's see, 18. I think I'm getting my numbers a little off. I'm sorry about that, but it doesn't matter. It's the content, right? So never respond to an unsubscribe. This is one I didn't really think about, so I'm going to say it a little slowly. Never respond to an unsubscribe on a pornographic email. If you or your child receives a message that is harassing, of a sexual nature, threatening, or inappropriate, forward a copy of the message to your ISP and ask for assistance. So don't hit unsubscribe because then they may connect, have your information. Who knows what could happen, but just forward it on. And we can teach our kids to do that and obviously have them come tell us about it. 19, don't forget to take an interest in your child's online world. Play a game with them, have fun, be aware of the platforms they're using. I have teenage daughters and my one daughter loves to do dance videos. And so I allowed her, I'm a little uncertain about it, quite honestly, but I allowed her to have a private TikTok account that we strictly regulate because her and her friends do dance videos and send them back and forth. And honestly, right now, I'm glad she's getting exercise. I'm glad she's interacting with people face to face over the screen, but it's something, but I'm interested and she shows me the videos and I am aware of what she's doing because I want to know the type of people she's interacting with. And, this is personal and every parent has different opinions on their kids' privacy, but we do periodically check our kids' devices just to make sure. I trust them. We've taught them well. I have a husband in law enforcement, so he's taught our kids to be cautious, but I just want to make sure that they're being responsible digital citizens, that new term I learned, and also interacting with people that are good, and keeping an eye on what they're doing online. 20. I liked this one. This is something that I saw going around on a lot of the sites. Create a family media agreement. So I've seen, you can go on Pinterest and find them. Some parents come up with different, an agreement. These are the list of rules, and in order to have permission to have a phone or access technology in our home, you have to abide by these rules, and they have the kids sign it. And I liked that idea. I wish I would have done it before we started giving before my girls got their iPhones, because I think that's a great idea, and it helps our children really realize what a great responsibility they have and privilege they have in utilizing and having a phone and having access to the internet. 21, set boundaries. Remember, you're in charge. Guys, we're the parents. We can set the rules and think about what's best for our children. 22, help your child think critically. This is a really good one. It didn't come to mind right away, but I'm glad that this resource, this Common Sense Media resource, which I loved, brought up, because I hadn't really thought about it, but it makes so much sense for us as adults too. Help your child think critically when they are online. Remind them that not everything they see or read on the web is true, and not everyone online tells the truth. There can be so much noise, distractions, and opinions online. And guys, that's pretty self-explanatory. Just teaching our kids to be able to maybe sometimes take things with a grain of salt, or if they have a question about something they see, to come, to you as a parent and ask, and then you can find out the accurate information. It's just good practice for all of us to remember that not everything we see online is accurate or real. And 23, this is what I'm going to talk about next in our Facebook Live, is if you would like, use safety apps or monitoring tools to set screen time limits to monitor and limit their mobile activity. So if you guys, many of us have smartphones. So I have an iPhone. Our family utilizes that. I know Samsung and, some of the other types of phones, they have their own safety protocols. But you can set up a way to track your kids while because most of our kids are carrying their phones with them, let's be honest. You can track them, so you can have their location, and that could be helpful in the event of an emergency. And there's an easy way to track and monitor them with some of the features that are already built into that device. So you can also set up screen time limits, and I do this with my children. So if you turn on, you can do it from my phone because we utilize family sharing. But if you go to, I believe, settings, and then there's a screen time section, you can set it up as a parent, and you can set it up for each child. So my girls, they each have their own screen time section, and depending on their age is when I can set, let's see, the amount of time. So if I only want them to have like 2 hours a day of access to Netflix or apps or whatever, I can put that on there. Obviously, right now I'm being more lenient because of distance learning and COVID. You could also put clean filters on there, so they're not allowed to look up certain websites. Also, that can relate to music and podcasts. You can put some of those filters on there. You also can shut it down, say they're not doing their chores, or maybe they had a bad day and they need a break. You can control it from your phone and shut down the screen time. And you can also, what I really like too, is at a certain time at night, you can have the phone turn off except for, being able to call or text, which you probably could limit texting too, but I wanted the call feature in case, you need to get a hold of us or whatever. But if you don't want to, come in at 1 a.m. and see them on TikTok or playing Minecraft or whatever, you can set limits that way. And it's free, and it's already built into your phone. Those settings are. There are some other apps that you can download. There are so many, but some of the ones that I have seen out there that look really good. Mama Bear is one, so check these out in your app store. There's one called Dinner Time, Screen Time, Respond ASAP, Bark, Checky, Q Studio. Those were all really highly recommended on many of the sources I checked out. And they all have a little bit different features, but most of them you can set limits, set up permissions for your kids to download certain apps, kind of track the amount of screen time they're having. And I thought the Checky one was kind of creative. I mean, how many times do we have the urge to check our phone? And it kind of tracks that every time they check their phone. I think I need Checky on my device. So those are other resources you can use. Some are free, some are low cost. Check out your app store, but they're tools that are easy to use and navigate and keep our kids safe. And thank you. Let's see, I have a couple comments. Thank you. You can see, Melanie, that we posted our YouTube page on there. So all of you that are listening, and if you don't follow our YouTube page, please do. We've been uploading a ton of content helpful for families, and you'll be able to see this video there soon as well to share with your communities. So there are many more resources on the internet. Safety tips, there's tons of checklists you guys could download and print out on, family rules around using technology, being responsible online. I just highlighted some of the ones I thought were very important today. Check out that Common Sense Media I mentioned a few times. So they are a wonderful website you can go to. And one of the things I really love about it is they have videos for almost any platform you can think of that our kids may be using, and all the tips and things that you as a parent need to be aware of. So whether it's a gaming console, or whether it's Twitter, or whether it's the WhatsApp app, or, oh gosh, there's so many that I don't even know about, Instagram, Facebook, any of those, it'll tell you in the video how to use it, the safety features on it, and what to look out for. And they're free and they're easy to access. And I love them. In fact, ever since I've been doing my research on this, I've bookmarked it because I'm definitely gonna keep watching and learning. But there is a lot out there to help us. It's not easy raising children in this digital age. While it's a blessing for many reasons, they also have access to a world at their fingertips. And it's just important for us parents to be informed and know what's going on so we can help protect our children. So I just wanted to wrap up. You guys, we know right now that our kids are online way more than we probably like them to, but part of it is necessary, and they're going to be, they're in full swing, getting distance learning going at school. They're utilizing their phone a lot more for entertainment and social connection. And we just wanted to share some resources with you all today to help protect your kids, to help protect our kids. All of us at Raising Special Kids have children in our lives that we love and we want to keep safe. And so I hope today that some of these resources I shared and some tips will be helpful, and you can decide what rules or guidelines or safety contracts you want to come up with to implement in your family. So thank you again for joining us. I want to encourage you, like I said in the beginning of this broadcast, to check out our website. We have some neat events coming up for those that jumped on a little late. We do have a speaker series on the calendar. It's going to be really good. It's all about SSI, and we're hosting it in English and Spanish. And we get so many calls about this from other families. So register. You'll want to register so you get the sign-in link, so that way you can listen in and learn along with us. And we hope you do so. And just remember, as always, right now is a time of uncertainty and a lot of stress we're hearing from parents as they're trying to get their kids going again for another time period of our child's educational experience, distance learning style. And we know it's hard. We're doing it too with our kids, and we're trying to do that balancing act. But if you need individual support, or you have questions about your child's IEP, or need guidance on how to communicate with their school team, please call our office. It's 602-242-4366. Go to raisingspecialkids.org. You can self-refer, but just know that we're here for you and we want to help. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend and can start practicing those safe technology practices online with your children. Thanks, guys.